Hello and welcome to Merlins Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, new LEGO Ideas entries and other news from time to time as well. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. Let's get started right away. We have a ton of updates this week, mostly availabilities. Obviously, we have the beginning of October, new LEGO wave, but also BlueBrixx has been quite busy, plus a couple of Chinese brands as well. So let's get started. So as always in alphabetical order, we start with BlueBrixx, and of course this is what a lot of folks, at least over here in Europe, have been waiting for. The hall extension for Blaustein Castle. 104,953, 5,273 pieces, but you are saying, Kai, what are you telling us? It's shown here as unavailable. Yes, it is. It was kind of, this is typical behavior for Blaustein Castle, so it was sold out after a few hours. But they have at least promised us that a new wave is going to come probably this week already. So keep fingers crossed that we will have more of these extensions. So this is already the third extension that they have made. Actually, they have a fourth one. You can see this here down below, the 105,236 that is already announced. But this is the one that we got for now, and you can see it has again more than 5,000 pieces. The original castle that you can see here down below as well had already 5,000. Then I think they had a tower with 2,000, another extension was 5,000. So we must be right now at around 17 to 18k pieces. It's quite a behemoth. It's obviously a lot larger already than the LEGO castle is. I think you can't directly compare them. I guess the LEGO castle is more in the typical LEGO design language, especially also, of course, of the basically picking up the design language of the late 80s and the 90s from the castles that had LEGO back then. But this here, of course, is a much more, let's say, modern approach, if you will. By means, it's trying to get more accurate from a historic perspective. It's more model than something to play around with. I mean, obviously you could. It's minifigure scale, but nevertheless, it is a different kind of castle. But we are at 17,000 pieces already. One additional announcements. I assume the one that they already have announced is already at 5,000 pieces again, and to my knowledge they plan several additional extensions, so this might be a thing that goes, I don't know, beyond 20-30k pieces easily. All right, that's about that. It's 200 euros as always over here in Europe. That means including tax. That means 3.8 cents a piece. That is not much. Based on what I'm hearing from folks that have already built it, it's mostly BlueBrixx pieces, so that's very high quality pieces. Previously, Blaustein Castle has been, at least the first revisions have been from a different brick vendor, so the piece quality was not that high. That was always a bit of a drawback around this castle, but based on what I hear, the quality is quite brilliant nowadays. Anyhow, this extension is already on its way on my desk, so I do intend to plan it and potentially release a speed build in the next couple of days. So let's see. I'm definitely looking forward to build this one. All right, let's move on. So this one is still available, thanks God. The Stage Wagon Small, the 105,075, 294 pieces. It's 20 euros. That makes 6.8 cents a piece. Yeah, typical steak wagon, so nothing special. I think it is, no, it's 8 pieces. So it's not that small. It's rather large actually. So for you of eight stud, did I say pieces? I meant studs. So for you that are 8 stud train enthusiasts, this is more fodder for you to play around with. And then they have, as part of their Western series, they have with the 105,056 Indian Village, 465 pieces, 30 euros. That is so that does sound quite a lot. However, it has like a ton of minifigures in it. Based on what I can see here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minifigures, a horse, which actually looks to me like a clone of LEGO horses, which is quite interesting. Usually BlueBrixx, by the way, most of the BlueBrixx post sets are built by Sembo, and Sembo does have its own horse design, more modern horse design that also fits well with their minifigure design. So I'm not really sure what is going on here, why they have this horse again, but well, here you go. There's a lot of prints in here. So Xingbao usually means everything that looks printed is printed. And of course you have the tens. So it's a lot of special pieces in this set. So I guess the piece count itself is not saying much around like how much sense the pricing makes. I think it's a pretty good price actually for what you get, if this is your kind of thing. And then one of my highlights, this actually arrived already yesterday. I immediately ordered it last week when this became available. The Forum Romanum from ancient Rome, 1,444 pieces. We're talking about the 105168 from BlueBrixx. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to this. This is 60 euros, 4.2 cents a piece. And yes, I'm a big fan of ancient Rome. I have been there. I have been in between these halls. I mean, obviously, what is left of them nowadays. Obviously, this is not the state of today. This is how the Forum was supposed to be looking originally. And yeah, it's Roman architecture. I'm a big fan of architecture. I'm a big fan of history, especially of ancient Rome. So this is exactly my cup of tea, like the Lego Colosseum was, for instance. So I'm really looking forward to building this one. And it's actually already over here. I hope I will have, after Blaustein Castle, hopefully I will have the time to look into this one. And then there's another one that I also intend to build. So yes, it was an expensive week last week. The 105182, the corner bar old pup, 3,489 pieces. It's a modular, it's a BlueBrixx special again, so like the Forum Romanum that and the Stake Wagon and also the Hall Extension, these are all BlueBrixx specials. That means they come in a very simple packaging and only with digital manual. So that's the BlueBrixx Specials and BlueBrixx Pro, where they usually give out the entire set to a third-party company like Xingbao, for instance, that of course has regular packaging and also paper manual. But this one just comes with a digital manual, which is fine for me. Actually prefer those. Not a big fan of paper manuals or printed manuals. But anyhow, so this is a full-blown modular, 3 floors. And it's a pup. I mean, what else can you say? So what you can say, this is typical for this designer. So Kai, actually my namesake, this designer is typically building really without having minifigures in mind. I've seen this several times before. So from my personal point of view, from my personal taste, this is a bit of a drawback. So maybe it does make sense if you intend to build this one and you want to position minifigures to get yourself a couple of, I don't know, 2x2 plates with one jumper plates with one stud, so you can position minifigures. So that's, but because if you look at here, for instance, also not just the floor, it's also the seats. I mean, over here it could make sense to have 1x2 plates with one jumper, something like that. A couple, so maybe take a look up front how you want to position your minifigures and how you want to change and adapt this. But as you can see here, I mean, it's great that all the floors are fully tiled, which actually is something that to this day Lego doesn't seem to be able to do. But they do, so they go the extra mile, they put the pieces in, but that also means it's like a fully blank floor and you can't put a minifigure on it. And the same is true, unfortunately, for the chairs. This, yeah, you might be able to fix this as well. So maybe instead of these curved slopes, these 2x2s on the seat, you, for instance, could put in, you get yourself a 1x2 plate in black and a 2x2 in red maybe. And then I think you can have a very similar design, but you can put minifigures in it. I mean, you could even decide, okay, I will only, you know, change 1 or 2 chairs and then put minifigures on those and everything else stays the way it is. Something like that. So that could be an idea. But anyhow, so you have a billiard table or pool table, I think it is in English, right? In Germany we say billiard. Anyhow, it's a pool table. So you can eat, you can drink, it's a pub. Awesome. All right, that is already the thing with BlueBrixx. So let's move on to CaDA, and they have 2 interesting announcements, I must say. So first, they have the Long March 5 launch vehicle. So that's obviously heavy space flight rocket from the Republic of, from the Chinese, what is it called? Space Agency, I guess. Actually do not have the name available. But anyhow, the ZZ5 Long March 5, it's a gigantic piece, I guess. I mean, if you count the stats, I assume it has very similar size to to the LEGO Ideas, the 92176, if you recall, which is actually still available. In this current updated version, it's from 2020. I mean, it has been LEGO has recreated this one, so there's a predecessor even. But anyhow, so this is current Saturn 5. It's 92176 from LEGO. It has 1,969 pieces. I do not have the piece count yet of the CaDA thing, but if I just look at it and count the stats a bit, I think it's very similar in size. But it is a completely different animal because, as you can see, you can look into the inside. You can look in the boosters. You can see the fuel cells. I guess that's what it is. I have actually no idea. I'm not a space engineer. I have no idea what these things are, but I assume it's fuel cells. And in the rocket itself, you see a lander on top, which I think is something the LEGO set has as well. But you can see here on this picture, you can basically distribute this thing in 20 different pieces. Look into the inside. It's really amazing, and yeah, you have all the stages, you have this amazing box. So it's a much bigger thing, I believe. However, CaDA is asking for $180 US. So let's see what is in there. I do not have a piece count yet, so I assume more details are coming in over time. The only thing I do have is the link to the CaDA shop at this point in time. But on the CaDA product homepage, I do not have the information yet. As soon as this information is coming in, also if you look into SetDB, stuff should get more detailed over time. Similar situation with the Dongfeng 21D anti-ship ballistic missile, which is $360 US if you buy at CaDA directly. And yeah, it's a gigantic anti-ship missile. I think it has a range of more than 1,500 kilometers, something like that. So it is definitely long range. And it's a gigantic thing. I mean, if you look at it, it is a combination of Technic to build the basic infrastructure of the vehicle, and then you build system bricks. And then you have the rocket shell, and you can even look again inside the rocket. And what is really great, I think, or really cool, is that on one side, both I don't even know what it's called. Again, I'm also not a military expert, but where the rocket is basically in on this shell. So even that uses trans clear panels on the backside. So depending on, how you put it on your shelf, you can look inside the rocket, can see the fuel cells and everything. Or you can't, you have more like a model. So I think that is quite interesting. These kind of huge military models is not really my cup of tea, but if you're into that thing and are also interested in Chinese military infrastructure, then yeah, this might be your thing. But it is not a cheap one. You can see the piece count here on the box. It's 6,351 pieces. So yeah, it's rather gigantic. But yeah, let's go. Speaking of military, we have another availability. So from Cobi, the battleship Tirpitz, the 4839 is now available as well. The executive edition, I think, was already available last week. I actually built this one. It's really an amazing ship. So I built the executive edition, which is slightly different. It has like 150 pieces more, roughly, because it has actually an inside. This is the first Cobi large battleship that I've built that has an inside where you can look into the machine room. So that definitely speaks for the executive edition. However, obviously the regular edition is a bit cheaper. So this one has 2,810 pieces, and currently it is available, at least over here in Europe, in one shop. It's 187 euros. It might get cheaper. Let's see. I think this is definitely with Cobi sets, it can make to wait a little bit. Maybe at least that's the situation over here in Europe, where it definitely makes sense to wait for a couple of months, and then usually stuff gets a lot cheaper. So I hear from people buying the hood, for instance, right now for something like 100 euros. So that's definitely a lot cheaper than it was a couple of months ago. And so it could make sense. I don't know how it is in other countries, other regions, how it is in the US, but at least with Cobi, the situation over here in Europe is similar to LEGO, that it does make sense to wait a little bit. And then prices usually come down, and you have a couple of offers and stuff. Anyhow, it's as all the Cobi battleships, scale 1/300. And yeah, I think it's great. Speaking of such, I was originally assuming that with the Tirpitz, the year by means of battleships from Cobi would end, because they already had, like, I think 4 battleships, large battleships this year, right? They started with the Yamato. Then they came with Gneisenau. Then we had the Iowa. And now we had the Tirpitz, so that's already 4 large battleships. But they do not intend to stop, because they just announced on their Instagram account that they plan to bring a USS Pennsylvania this year still. And I even hear rumors that there might even be one additional ship. So Cobi, I don't know, they're on a run. They want to release more ships, so that's fine for me. No details yet, no piece count. It doesn't look that big, actually. I mean, obviously, if they want to keep the scale of 1 to 300, I assume it will be a bit smaller than the other ones. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Definitely intend to build it. That is it for Cobi. Let's move on to Forange. There we have the car transport, the FC1613, that is now also available, at least over here in Europe. This is an amazing piece. So I'm actually not so much in 8-stud cars, but actually I have a couple of those coming my way, because I do intend to look into it a little bit at least. But long story short, here you are, if you're interested in this kind of thing, then you have now a transport. And I think it's an amazing thing. You can put 3 cars on it, on the trailer. It has a nice painting. It's a bit like color scheme of Optimus Prime, I would say. But obviously, I mean, you have a lot of regular trucks, right, running in North America in this color scheme. So I think that is amazing. And yeah, I mean, for all of you 8-stud car enthusiasts, this might be your thing. It's 60 centimeters long, 12.5 centimeters height, and 10 centimeters in width. Though it's not small, but I don't know, if you have the cars, this could be an awesome way to represent it. With that, let's move on to LEGO. And of course, we have the Razor Crest that is available for VIP customers, which sounds bigger than it is, because in reality, that just means you can order it online at lego.com. We are talking about, of course, the 75331, the LEGO Star Wars Razor Crest, 6,187 pieces. $600 US. I've already talked about this one, so there's no big news here. And it's shown on CaDA still as unavailable, because technically you need to be a VIP customer and CaDA is not. But I mean, you can order it online, and then I think the formal release, and that means you can buy it in LEGO stores, is 7th of October. LEGO claims it has 5 minifigures. Technically, it's just 4. I think this thing here he's riding on is counted as the 5th minifigure, which I think it's brick built, so I don't know why it's counted like this. But anyhow, designed by César Soares. If you're interested, I think I personally am. This thing is definitely, as I said, I had a very expensive week last week. This is something I'm so looking forward to. And I do intend to build it, watch series 1 and 2 from The Mandalorian. It's going to be great. All right, what is in similar condition is the LEGO Icons Holiday Main Street, the 10308. That's the current Winter Village collection piece from this year, and the same situation. Like I said, you can order it online, but in stores it's going to be on shelves 7th of October. I do believe that both of those will be, at least for the foreseeable future, be exclusive. Usually with the Christmas collection or Winter Village collection, takes like half a year, and I think with the Star Wars UCS sets it's similar. At least that's the situation over here in Europe. That usually takes like, I don't know, half a year, and then you will see it in first shops. Usually not many with all these kind of pieces. Not many stores are going to get them, but this is usually what it takes over here. It's still $100 US. I've talked about this one before. All right, and then we have the wave of 1st of October sets. So that means there's not much of exclusivity usually. And yeah, you can order it on regularly, or you can go to a LEGO store. And that is first the 21336, the new LEGO Ideas set, The Office. I already have an end of life. Okay, that's interesting. But anyhow, presumably end of life is December 31st, 2024. And yeah, as always, by the way, if you go into CaDA for these kind of sets, you can find also the original design entry. I do maintain those. So if you're interested figuring out like how this did the original design entry for the LEGO Ideas Program look like. This might be for you. And yeah, I think this is about it. And we have also available from the Avatar series, Neytiri and Thanator versus AMP Suit Quaritch. I have no idea how this is pronounced correctly. It's been quite a while since I saw the movie. 75571 from LEGO is available. 560 pieces, $45 US. That's 8 cents a piece. And I apologize. I have to get rid of this best price thing because actually, yeah, that is actually wrong. Anyhow, let's move on. To Avatar Floating Mountains, Site 26 RDA Samson, the 75573 is available as well. By the way, as always, you can see this here, what I'm showing on the monitor. If there are reviews out there, usually, of course, that means recognized fan media. You will find the link here as well, like in this case from Beyond the Brick. This includes both YouTube channels as well as large blogs like Brothers Brick, New Elementary. If there is a favorite reviewer that you are missing here in the set to be list, just let me know in the comments and I will take a look at it. I have to do this manually, and that means picking the reviews, and of course the reviewer source should have a decent size already, only then the effort makes sense for me. But yeah, if there is some website that I've been missing, important also recognized fan media that I've been missing, just let me know. Anyhow, this thing is $100 US. That means it's slightly above 11 cents a piece for 887 pieces. Then we have also the Avatar Brickheads set from this year. It's the 40554 Brickheads, Jake Sully and his avatar. And yeah, it's a typical 2 brickhead package, 246 pieces, $20 US, nothing special, typical brickhead story. And then you have LEGO Avatar Jake and Neytiri's first Banshee flight. Again, totally forgot how to pronounce these. 75572, 572 pieces. That's $60 US. That makes slightly above 10 cents a piece. So all of these sets are definitely not cheap. Personally, I think the crown jewel here and the largest set of this Avatar wave is Avatar Turuk Maktu. I don't know how it was pronounced, and the Tree of Souls, 75574, 1212 pieces, and 1, 2, 3, 4 minifigures. Am I correct? All avatars. Yeah, it's $150 US. Personally, I wish this would be a bit cheaper, like 110 would be, I don't know, maybe 120. 12.5 cents a piece. That's quite a lot. And actually, if you look at it, yes, I mean, you have the Turok's wings, you have 4 minifigures, but nevertheless, I don't really understand. From my point of view, this is 20% to above what it should be. I think, personally, I do believe LEGO should try always to stay in the 10 cents a piece range. And I mean, obviously, there are some sets where the pieces are larger, and then that, you know, justifies a higher price. But I do not really understand why this is the case here. Anyhow, let's move on to Marvel. Obviously, the flagship is the Marvel Black Panther statue, or what you might call it, the head, whatever you might call it, the 76215, 2,961 pieces. We have already reviews. Solid Bricks Studios had looked at it. Alex has looked at it. It's $350 US from LEGO, so that makes 11.8 cents a piece. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the way it is. This is what we already knew. It's available now, and I've already talked about this one in the past. And then we have a few smaller sets. So Marvel King Namer's Throne Room, 276213, this one of the smaller pieces, 355 pieces, smaller sets. And we have 355 pieces in it. That makes 10 cents a piece, including 2 minifigures. And it's 3 minifigures even. I mean, that is a good bargain, I think. So this is what I would have expected from the other sets. Like, you have 3 minifigures and still it's 10 cents a piece. That is okay, LEGO. The other thing is not. Let's put it that way. Then we have Shuri's Lab. The 76212 is available now as well. 58 pieces, $10 US, 2 minifigures included. Yeah, that is, for instance, something that I do not really understand, because there's really not much in it. And this one here, I mean, yes, it's more than 3 times that. I guess Shuri's Lab is cool if you want to have the minifigures. The problem is a little bit Black Panther, and I've talked about this in the past. No prints on the trousers or on his pants, and that is, I think, yeah, I think that really hurts that minifigure. Shuri is amazing. I mean, the headpiece is great. The hair is amazing. The torso is amazing. But again, the legs are not printed. So that's a bit unfortunate, because if you just look at the, you know, the top part of the minifigure, it's great. But if you look at the lower part, you'd think, oh, Lego, why? But anyhow, let's move on with Shuri to Shuri Sunbird, the 7.6-211, $50 US, 355 pieces. That's 14 cents a piece. Yeah, this is again an example where you have very large pieces in it, so that kind of justifies the price a little bit. And you have 4 minifigures. All 4 have the lower part printed, right? Including their hips. And I think that is exactly the kind of quality that you want to have in 2022 from LEGO when it comes to minifigures, right? So please, LEGO, don't cheap out. This is the way. This is how you should go, at least in my point of view. All right, and then we have 2 more availabilities from 2 of the amazing medieval sets from Balon. From Mork, of course, is the brand here, from their Medieval City series, Watchtower and Stable. No, I think Medieval City is something that BlueBrixx added. I should actually remove that. That is a mishap on my side. Anyhow, what is from Mork is Guard Tower and Stable. Stable is the name 33001. My name is wrong here. I will fix this. Balon actually has most of these pieces also on Rebrickable. So as always, if you go to setb.org, by the way, all the links to all the pages, the individual pages that I'm showing here, you will find in the YouTube video description for you people who watch on YouTube. For podcast listeners, you will find it in podcast show notes. So you can go directly. But anyhow, if I am aware of the original Rebrickable Mork, and of course, if this design or this set is legit, i.e. there is an agreement between the original designer and the vendor or the brand, that is great. And in this case, only in this case, I will actually list them in SetTB and talk about them here, but I will also link the Mork. So this case, this one here, the Guard Tower, is actually a piece that has been put together by 2 Rebrickable designs. So the Guard Tower and the Stable were on Rebrickable individual designs, and they are now here put together. Then that makes 3,811 pieces. BlueBrixx is listing these for 180 euros, again, including tax, like all the at least over here in Europe, that's included. All the LEGO prices are, for instance, are US prices, so it's without tax. But anyhow, 4.7 cents a piece. That's really good. More casting bow pieces. So that's not my favorite brands. So for sure, out of China, they're a lot better. Like, I don't know, Panloss is better, GoBrixx is better, in my point of view. CaDA is making better bricks. Enlighten/Keyplay is making better bricks. But anyhow, Xingbao, here you go. And then you have the Tavern, the Medieval Tavern, actually, what it's called. It's 3,451 pieces, again from Balon, again based on a Rebrickable Mork. And again, legit, 160 euros over here, 4.6 cents a piece. And then we have 4 sets where I'm actually 100% sure what the situation is. So these are 4 designs from Robin N. As always, I have linked this, so you can go directly to the website, Flickr account. These have also been design entries into the LEGO Ideas Program, and you can even to this day on his website buy the manual for this design. So Robin N, if you're not aware, that's the designer that is behind the original LEGO Old Fishing Store. So that's the Ideas entry is from him. And I do know that a lot of Chinese brands have copied all of these mid-harbor kind of sets that he has created over the years. Actually, many of those have also been LEGO Ideas entries, like I said. And I do know that it has been copied a lot. But I also know that at least BlueBrixx has an agreement with the designer. At least that's what BlueBrixx claims, and I do believe them. So they have, under their own BlueBrixx brand, they have created a ton of sets themselves, and they are also now selling these Pangu / Happy Build sets. So I do believe, for at least from BlueBrixx, that is legit. However, I do not know if Pangu / Happy Build has an agreement with the designer. If any one of you out there has some information on this one, or confirmation, I should rather say, awesome, please let me know. So for the time being, I will only list these in combination with the BlueBrixx shops, not with any of my other partners, until I have confirmation on this one. But yeah, please, if you have any information on how legit these are, I'm really looking forward to, please let me know, put this in the comments section, because I do believe that these 4 Pangu / Happy Build sets have a lot of benefits compared to the BlueBrixx ones, because they are more in the colors that Robin originally designed them with. So they're much more colorful than the BlueBrixx ones, because the BlueBrixx sets are basically 99% of them are in the color scheme of the original LEGO set, which, i.e. sand green. So I think if you, I don't know, if you want to build an entire coastline of these, like you have 5 or 6 of these, and they all have similar colors, that's a bit unfortunate. Plus, what BlueBrixx also did, let's go back here. What they also did, they used different water coloring. That means, like, the buildings, they all have the same color, more or less. So yeah, they all look almost the same. They're not as colorful as I personally would want them to be, but they still use different water. So if you put them all next to each other, of course, that makes no sense. So from my point of view, it should have been the other way around. Use the same color everywhere, but, you know, give the building more interesting colors. But anyhow, so this is a big difference. And of course, I assume, being Happy Build / Pangu, it's BlueBrixx pieces, which is a lot better than what BlueBrixx does. Again, I said before, I prefer BlueBrixx pieces compared to Xingbao every day. Anyhow, so let's go through them. So this one here is the 1201. That's the dive shop, 1,460 pieces, 100 euros, 6.8 cents a piece, and again available at BlueBrixx, and that's the only one I'm going to show here, like I said before. Then the 12003, that's the houseboat restaurant, 2,237 pieces at BlueBrixx, 6.3 cents a piece. And again, as always, if there has been an ideas entry, CaDA is going to show this. If you want to buy the menu directly from the designer and maybe get this thing going on your own, there's also a link here. The same way as you can see all the designs or sets in CaDA from Robin, and also his Flickr account if you're interested. I have links for everything. Anyhow, the boat repair shop, the 12004, 2,027 pieces, 120 euros, that's 5.9 cents a piece. And then we move on to the lighthouse, 2,375 pieces, and it's 150 euros, 6.3 cents a piece. So yeah, I really love those. I do hope they are fully legit. So in this case, you might go ahead and buy them also, I don't know, in a Chinese shop or anything. For the time being, I repeat myself, I know. Just BlueBrixx. All right, then we have 2 motorcycles where I have announcements at this point in time only from one shop, from Sembo, the 705031. That's a Suzuki GSX R1000R, and I have absolutely no idea what this all means. I mean, it's a motorcycle from Suzuki, that I do know. It seems it's an official licensed product, at least that's what Sembo is claiming on the box. So that's awesome. And this one here is scale 1:7. It has 794 pieces. I do not have a price yet. And yeah, it's a GSX-R 1000R. That's awesome, I guess, for you motorcycle enthusiasts. For me, I can just say it looks nice. I think it's a well-built motorcycle, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot cheaper than the recent LEGO BMW one. And then they also have, I guess for kids, a smaller version, the 1:14 scale, 1x14, 326 pieces. But again, it's the same motorcycle. That's the 705030. And then we have a couple of availabilities from the Techniaue series, i.e. Technic sports cars. BlueBrixx, I actually took over the translation from BlueBrixx, but they're just saying, because there's no brand behind it, and as you can see, the set name originally is in Chinese, so they just call it sports car in ... i.e. a color. And here we have the sports car in green. It's a 701001, 1475 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking for 70 euros. And let's just browse through all of them. Then there's one in blue, pink, and black, the 701925. I mean, they're all different, right? We just use the color to identify them. And they on scale 1x14, it seems. 1095 pieces, 60 euros again, is asked by BlueBrixx. Then we have a red one, that's a 701955, 1374 pieces. That makes 4.7 cents a piece because it is 65 euros. And this one is actually the one that I would prefer. I don't know if they are pet printed or just stickers, but anyhow, I think they don't look that bad. Actually quite nice. And then we have a blue one, which again, like the green one, has a double axle in the back. I don't know why you would put this in a sports car, but again, I don't know much about cars either. There's actually not much stuff I know things about. Anyhow, 1555 pieces. We are talking about the 701963 from Sembo. It's 70 euros, 4.5 cents a piece. All right. So we went through these, browsed through these pretty fast. From my point of view, we have a ton of interesting sets this week. Some very nice highlights. My personal highlights are the Forum Romanum, the Blaustein Castle extension, and of course the Razor Crests. As I said, it was an expensive week for me, at least. All right. So then we have the Breath of the Wild Temple of Time. So we are in the ideas section. We have 3 new entries this week, if I'm not miscounting. And the Temple of Time, actually I've never played Zelda Breath of the Wild. I think I played my last Zelda game like 20 years ago. But anyhow, for those Breath of the Wild fans out there, now you have the Temple of Time. It's quite, I mean, it is quite huge. Just as always, in the idea entries are capped by LEGO at 3,000 pieces to my knowledge. So going this big with 3,000 pieces and still having a decent amount of detail, I think is an amazing job. Actually, I guess, and I assume this is authentic. This was paid with, okay, first of all, it's only half of the temple, the other half is broken, but if you look in the inside, you can also see that it's very simplistically built, i.e. it has a very, I guess, simple snot technique to build the walls, and obviously it's done with minimal piece count, because from the inside it looks quite plain, quite simple. You just see the back of the plates. So I guess that is the price that you had to pay to get that humongous with such a small piece count, small in quotes, but obviously that is easily a set that could easily take 1,000 pieces more. But yeah, this way it went, the designer was able to make it into minifigure scale. Actually, it has been designed by LEGO Overwatch, or LEGO Overwatch. Or LEGO Overwatch, let's call it like this. I think a great job, but yeah, I think the designer paid the price for the minifigure scale. Let's put it that way. All right. Then we have the classic Thunderbird sets, and I do admit I've never seen Thunderbirds. I think maybe if I see it again, I will recognize something, but I just can't recall that I've ever seen it. So we have this the ideas entry from Andrew Clark 2. Obviously a big fan of the original 1960s animated series. So I'm from 1979, so this is definitely before my time. But I do like this one. It's like a couple of interesting planes. There is there's a couple of vehicles, Thunderbird 2, Thunderbird 4. What I do really like that Thunderbird 2 is designed in nanofigure scale, which is quite amazing. And the idea of the designer is to have 3 nanofigures in there. And yeah, you have a couple of vehicles. I think it's very well designed. I don't know if it has a chance. I think it's too old. The license is too old for Lego because, you know, younger kids are not really interested. I mean, Lego's all in going for nostalgia, for sure. But I think this is not it. I do believe. But let's see. Happy to be proven wrong. And then we have the Right Flyer. I think this is also by BlueBrixx, I guess. Has also reached the 10,000 supporters. By the way, as a quick recap, in this section of the new show, usually I only talk about ideas entries that actually reach the 10,000 supporters, which means in the next wave for the idea sets, the LEGO Ideas team is considering it. Anyhow, we have the Brother Wright and their airplane, the first airplane I think that made a real flight. It's 1,279 pieces. It's 51 centimeters by 51, and it's 17.6 in height. With that piece count, this is quite an accomplishment. It's really a large one. It's very fragile build. I'm pretty sure if Lego would ever make a set of it, they would look for something that is much more robust. I mean, it's basically held together by, especially if you look here at the tail, by just a 6L pieces. So I don't know. It's quite fragile, but I think it's a nice airplane. I mean, it covers it well. It's a good representation. I think based on the pictures that are still in my mind, what I learned in school or what I read about many years ago, but it looks authentic to me. So very well done. Very nice job. And I think that's about it for this week. So I do hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, sorry, please leave a like or a comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. For you podcast listeners, please leave a review, comment or like on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. Thanks for listening. See you next week.